Oh my God. Today, all the shit is literally happening. All the shit is happening. And I am sorry about that. I accidentally ended the stream because I was streaming on my phone because of Wi Fi issues. And then my mom decided to call in the middle because I couldn't put my phone on airplane mode because I wasn't using Wi Fi, right? So now I'm back on my laptop because it seems like the Wi-Fi has been kind of fixed, which I'm hoping. And Mark has been amazing, so we're gonna bring him back and continue the conversation. No wonder this shit is called shit happens, cause shit happens, huh? Hi, Mark. I'm so sorry about that. Thank
All
you for
good.
your patience.
All good. This is what happens when you're doing stuff live sometimes, right?
Right? Oh my God. But I'm learning and I like how I get to figure it out as I go. So, and it just happens that my segment is called Shit Happens. So, where were we? Because I don't want to take so much of your time. Where were we?
You were asking me how I got involved with the whole Clubhouse thing and why I started the podcasting morning chat. And basically where I was in the story was I really wanted to continue doing something every morning that was an excuse to partially to get up early because I was already working on that morning routine. So I had made that commitment to myself that I would every morning open up a room for podcasters and content creators talking about the different challenges and things that we work with and deal with as content creators. And I had found a guy who his name is Pedro. He was a part of the original podcasting morning chat that they used to do on Clubhouse. That version ended up coming to an end, so we talked about rebooting it, and that's what we did. He and I rebooted it. We had a few people from their original crew and a few people from my own community that I had already started building up, and we built it from there. And it went from having 4, 5, 6 people attend to, in some of our prime, I would say, to over 100 people every day. And we've been doing it now. Pedro couldn't commit anymore to doing it every day, so I took it over myself, and we've been doing it now. I know you've been a part of it for a year, and we've been doing it for 2 years running now. Always on Clubhouse, always live, and never as a podcast until just recently.
Which we're going to get into that. But before that, right, there's certain things that you said before we got cut. First of all, it's funny how your story kind of is the same with me, like how I got rooted in, like, you invited me
Mm-hmm.
and I came, and I remember the first few days when I kept on coming back, I wasn't even coming on the stage until I get called out. I still also had, because I'm also that person who needs to observe the environment to see will they accept, because I know who I am, I know how I talk, I know, and it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Like I don't mind about that, but I just want to make sure that I'm not in a place where I feel like I'm offending somebody or somebody's offended by me. So I also observe before I actually allow myself to be on the stage. Like, is this really safe place for me to talk my shit, right?
Yeah.
And then you all just showed some love, and then I ended up to the extent where I'm now a moderator for the evening chat. So there's
Yep.
I was like kind of interject, and so were you ever like, I know how when you get up, right, and you open the room, when you decided to take it over by yourself, were you ever scared that I'll walk into this room and nobody will be there and I'll be alone for an hour, like?
Yes. I
And
mean,
how did you get through that?
yeah, I haven't gotten through that. I still worry about that sometimes. It's and it's not because I'm worried. It's not a vanity thing. It's not because I want just to see lots of people in there. Sure, that's an ego boost, but the real reason is that I work best when I have people to bounce off of, when I have people to communicate with. It's communication and really connecting with people is one of my core values in life. I have that urge, that need to connect with people. So yeah, I still every morning when I first go in and I'm the first one in there and no one else is there yet and I've started, it is a little bit nerve wracking. But I think really with repetition, it doesn't get under my skin. I'm not freaking out about it the way maybe I used to. And I think the practice of podcasting, it is a little bit of a lonely, I'll call it a job. It is a little lonely, right? When we're just recording a podcast by ourselves, or even afterwards, if we've got a guest, even after working on a podcast by ourselves, it feels a little lonely. So I think I got used to that already coming into this, and knowing that, yeah, maybe nobody shows up, maybe 2 people shows up, and I've got to just roll with it best I can.
I like that. Because, and I think seeing you do that, the consistency, right? That has wrapped up to me because on Saturday, was it Saturday or Saturday? I was doing a live and my guest was a no-show. Well, she jumped in after 30 minutes. She had stuff. But in my head, I was like, I could have easily canceled, right? But that would be an easy way out, right? Because it's already scheduled. So I was like, you know what? I'm just, because it's a consistency. I planned on doing this regardless. So I jumped in. I was like, I'm gonna share some stuff for 30 minutes. If she comes, cool. If she doesn't, I'll have some shit to share, you know.
Yeah.
So you wrap that up
And I think,
and you know
Paula,
how
I
you
think that that's also something, there's something to be said. I appreciate that you're giving me some credit for that. And I think that, you know, the fact that you've been doing every Tuesday a live by yourself, I think that's been your practice, so that when you are in that situation like you were over the weekend, it's not a big deal. You've built up that muscle. You've had the practice and experience to be able to do it by yourself. So I give you a little credit there too.
thank you so much. And you know, because this year, to be honest, my plan this year was to concentrate on YouTube and Facebook, right? But it's amazing since Podfest that engage. Well, my Instagram engagements have gone so high. If I show you my professional dashboard, it's like it's now on 3.5K, and I keep on every time I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's why like I'm in a rush right now to keep the content coming because you know
Mm-hmm.
once you're already there, you're like keep rolling, keep
Yeah.
rolling. So and I love how my content is like I put the podcast, I put the morning chat, I put stupid shit because you know I like doing stupid shit and I
Yeah.
need my followers to know the type of person I am, right? But then when I started doing the lives, right? Even sometimes there's nobody who shows up, right? And now I get 9, 10 people coming in now. They're used to me going 9 a.m. for 15 minutes. But even if it was sorry, I was like, it doesn't matter who comes. I just gotta keep doing it, right? And I did it. And now with my lives, which has kind of brought a lot of engagement on my LinkedIn and on my YouTube, which was that's what I wanted. So I was like, if this I've already scheduled them and I don't show up or cancel, that's gonna ruin. So even if that person doesn't show up, I that's what shit happens. Hey, something happened, she can't make it, but you get me for 30 minutes, and I promise I'm not gonna waste your 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
and, and that's the thing with you, Mark. You know, your bio says inspiring others through thoughtful conversations and your passion for connection and creativity. And I think that's why me and you also connected because you really do inspire like those conversations in the morning and you see how those icebreakers have been doing, right? They really do bring out thoughtful conversations. And I feel like that's what's so special about Empowered Podcasting Room. Because we do have those conversations and they're not, even though they start as podcasting, but they really also end up talking about our personal lives as well. We have really gotten to know each other personally because we also share, because sometimes they intertwine together, like my podcasting world and my personal. What people are talking about, I might not use it on my podcasting world, but I might use it on my personal life. So they really do intertwine together. So I think that's why we have so many conversations. Okay.
There you are.
Oh my god!
You cut out a little bit
But
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it went down. My internet is going back. But so I want to say that you really do the damn thing. Like you have made me, like I was already a person who seeked deep connections, but you've made me seek even more deeper connection. You've made me be intentional with the connections. Like if you remember last year, my word was intentional, and I really with the, I feel like with the Empowered Podcasting Room, each one of them I became intentional with getting to know them in different levels and being intentional with our podcasting room and showing up and putting to practice. Because also, even if you're coming in the room every day and you're not putting anything into practice that is being thrown to you, then you're
Mhm.
really wasting that 1 hour. Like, yes, we want to see people, but we want to see you put into action to what you're saying. Like how Dominic has motivated us to bet on ourselves. Look at what Stacey ended up going to do. Look at what I ended up going to do with Afros and Audios. Look, like, so to see that, like, people are really like taking what you guys are giving and going to do that. And I feel like for me, that's more important than the numbers, right? To
Yeah.
actually see people implementing the shit you're sharing
Yeah. Yeah. And
and the connections you're creating.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I think if anybody could take a lesson out of what we do in the morning, besides things like staying committed to what you're going to do and being consistent about it, I think those things are extremely important. I also, though, I think where a lot of podcasters miss the mark when they're looking for a way to separate themselves, their podcast, from other podcasts, it's that they're not working hard enough. In some cases, they're not working hard enough to create a community and to create connection with people. Because I think that a lot of us get started thinking we just have to spit out all sorts of tips and tricks and give all sorts of information. That's what's going to make people come to us. But the truth is, what I teach people is no different than what the next person's teaching people, right? I don't have any special magic formula or pill that's going to help your podcast instantly go to success. But the difference is the reason why our show, the Podcasting Morning Chat, is growing in popularity is because it's a community. And we create connection, not just between me and the people there, but between all of the people there that are there to learn. They're becoming friends. They're becoming, as you have often put, family. And that is, if you want a magic pill, if you want a secret ingredient, that's the way you build a successful podcast, is to create those connections with your audience.
And that's so true. Because look at me. You remember last year? I don't even know what happened to that award show, but when that was it Pod Awards or whatever nominated me, and I was supposed to go to Detroit. It wasn't even the excitement of, oh, I'm gonna go to an award show in Detroit. It was like, oh my god, I get to meet Amanda and Chris. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
like, and that's something. Or even when we looked at pictures of Sid and Ashley meeting, or you and Dominic are meeting his wife, or me and Dominic, like it makes you feel so proud and also formal, like, oh my god. And I think that's why it ended up being like, okay, we need our own event so that we
Yeah.
can all be in the room. So let's talk about that,
Okay.
because we have something. By the way, before we get to the event, right? Earlier as well, you were sharing about impo- impo- im- imposter syndrome, how
Mm.
not knowing if you are good enough to get on the stage with people, like, do you have knowledge? It's funny because you remember at Podfest, right after I did my presentation. First of all, I really did not prepare for that presentation, and it wasn't that I wasn't nervous. I mean, I've been on Podfest stages, and last year I was nervous to go on the panel, but this year was different because I was literally talking about something that's so dear to me, like community and so that was something I knew I could freestyle and still make
Sure.
sense. But it
Sure.
was also like I know how I talk, even though podcast I know most of them know me, but I know how I talk with the shit and so I was like, I don't know how they will take it or whatever, but I was like, I'm still going to show up as me, right? Because that's
Yeah.
me. But when I was standing, when I came out and we were standing there and talking, when you gave me my shot, by the way, y'all, do you see this?
Mhm.
This is a podcasting morning chat. When you gave me my chat and we were just talking, there was this old lady walking towards us, right?
Yeah.
And when I remember that moment, it really makes me so emotional because as she was walking towards me, I legit thought that lady was coming to talk to Mark. Because again, it's Mark, right? I was next, like it's Mark next to me, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to come and talk to little old me? That's what I had in my head, right? Who wants to come talk to little old me? Like, what do I have to say? And as she came, and she was like, sorry, excuse me. I was like, oh, no, no problem. I'll leave you guys to it and I'll be right back. And she was like, no, I came to talk to you. And she used the same language I used, and she was like, you fucking killed it. I enjoyed it. We started talking. I was like, wait, what? So I feel like sometimes in our head, we feel like, oh, I can't be a mentor, or I can't be a leader, or I can't be even. And you have been in this space for how many years, Mark? 20 years in podcasting, and you still felt that way while you were entering clubhouse room. So
Yeah.
I will that shit ever go away? Because
I don't think it does.
I'm
I
tired
mean,
of.
for me, I don't know. I'm working on making it go away forever, but I don't know if it ever will, because here's why, Paula. Because we grow as people, right? We are in one stage of life and we're feeling like imposters, and we eventually learn and grow past that, and then we no longer feel like that imposter. But then there are a whole new set of challenges, there's a whole new set of things to learn and do, and we all of a sudden then become skeptical of ourselves and doubt ourselves because we're in an unfamiliar territory. But the truth is, it's just a matter of going through the motions, going through the repetition, learning, and then sharing what we learn. We think and assume that the things that we learn is not going to be valuable to others for some reason. But the truth is the more we share, the more we actually become authorities in that space, whatever that space is.
So true, and that's what I got from there. Because not only that moment, and then that moment ended up being a lot because of my presentation. I was so
Yeah.
shocked. But then also Trent coming and calling me his mentor was like, yo, I'm really, I should own this shit. Like, I shouldn't be so shocked. I feel like, yes, I should still be shocked because I need to stay humble because podcast this year was making my head a little bit too big.
Yeah,
but
I hear you.
so but it's so amazing how we live in this world thinking that I ain't got nothing to teach somebody while they're actually people looking into you as their coaches, their teachers, their
Yeah.
leaders, and it's so impressive. So,
There's
anyways,
there's
back to our
always there's
yes,
always going to be somebody that doesn't know something that you do. There'll always be somebody who's a step or two behind you that needs that information that you can provide. And at the same time, yeah, there's going to always be somebody who's a step or two ahead of you. And that's just something that I think we have to accept as people. And instead of focusing on why aren't we where that person is, try focusing on how can we help the person that's behind us. That is going to give you the confidence. That's going to help you eliminate that imposter syndrome that we're talking about.
and that's so true. And we lucky had this conversation, me and you, I would purpose because you did ask me like, do you see that now people are coming to you for podcasting? And I was like, yeah, and I lucky hate like I'm o- I'm okay when it's somebody who really just reaches out and is like I wanna start a podcast or whatever. And you know me, I'm very good at go to this person, like connecting people. Like I've brought people to you, I've brought people like I know exactly who to send who because maybe that's my knowledge, that's my power because I surround myself in these communities and I know exactly who can help who with what.
Yeah.
But then when it's friends or those family who used to laugh at me and now they're reaching out, I'm gonna charge you. For you, I'm gonna charge you
Good for
because
you. Good for
yeah,
you.
because you weren't helping, you weren't supporting, you were laughing at me, and now because all these people are seeing my worth, who have been supporting and pushing me, now you want to jump on the bandwagon. So
Yeah.
no, you're gonna get charged. But for the rest of the other people, I am definitely gonna put you through whatever I can do. Because I'm that person. I like connecting people. I like seeing people win. I like seeing people's growth. And even when Trent, to see where Trent has come from when we first had that call and I gave him the tools and I directed him to the people, and now to see where he is, that shit makes me so happy. It's more than any downloads or any money, just to see that I was a part of this journey. I'm a
Yeah.
part of this story. And he's gonna, just like how he was telling everybody a purpose, he's gonna keep telling people about me. And that's how you get to grow in this
Yes.
community, in this industry, in this, just do the damn good deed and let it be, right?
Yep.
Put people on.
Absolutely.
Don't
Absolutely.
be gatekeepers.
That's right. It's funny how we do that, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I still, like I said, I still deal with the imposter syndrome sometimes. When I was at Podfest, it's challenging sometimes for me to be there because there are lots of people that do what I do and offer services that I offer. And you see all the amazing things that people are doing, and sometimes, at least for me, that makes me question what I'm doing. Am I doing enough? Is it good enough? I go through all those motions too. And at the end of the day, when I get to witness people's success like yours that I know I was a part of in some way, all of that other stuff, all that noise goes out the window, because this is what I feel I'm meant to do, is to lift people up and empower people to share their message through podcasting or any kind of content creation.
And that's so true. And I see that a lot in you. And that's why half of the time, because Mark, you are an incredible person with so much knowledge and power of just bringing people together and helping people and stuff. So whenever I see you doubting yourself, I'm like, no, Mark, on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You on that shit. So we're gonna get you there, because that's why you have me in your life, because I'm good at that. I'm good
I'm grateful
at
for it.
making people see what they don't see in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was that person. When you're I am small, I am short, so I was never seen, just hard, because of course I'm loud. That's why I think I stay loud. So I'm always like, no, we gotta show people. People need to be seen. You need to be
Yep.
seen, especially when you're out there doing good things and you're standing in your power. So speaking of that,
Yeah.
we two amazing things have come out from the Empire Podcasting Room.
Okay.
And one of them, about them time, you brought the clubhouse room into the podcasting streets. And another one is we are finally doing our first in-person event.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about that. What made you decide on both of those two things? Like, this is the time is now. Let's fucking do it. Because again, you deal with imposter syndrome, so I know we know about the podcasting coming, the clubhouse coming into the podcasting world took you a little bit of time, but the in-person event, I feel like it was just like, we're doing it,
Yeah.
compared to I'm gonna overthink it before I decide to do it. So let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I'll start with turning the podcasting morning chat into a podcast. Um, for I think that for a long time, it was always something on my mind to do, and I never pulled the trigger on it because I felt like it was too different to be a podcast. I felt like because it's a live stream, because there's potentially so many voices on stage, that it wouldn't work. And I just kind of came to that conclusion and dismissed it anytime the thought came up or someone suggested it, because I would just say, I can't put that out there, because half of the stuff that we do are things that I advise people not to do for their podcast. For example, we start the show, I do a very quick introduction, I'm playing music, and then I let the music play for another 2 or 3 minutes until we're ready to go, because we do some stuff live behind the scenes, and I need those few minutes to kick the room off. But I would never tell a podcaster to do that if they're not doing it live. Right. So I would convince myself, no, I can't be a podcast. But I think it was really after Podfest, I realized there is no excuse, and it doesn't matter that it's different. And the fact of the matter is, it's those podcasts, the ones that are super successful, especially independent podcasts, it's the ones that are doing it a little bit different than everybody else. They are standing out and it's attracting attention. And if they're doing it with intention, like we do, where we are really looking to build a community of people, I think it's a no-brainer. So I just all of a sudden one day last week, I said to myself, it's time to do it. It just popped in my head, just do it. And that was it. I just took last week's worth of shows and I uploaded them all and put it out there. I didn't force myself to make a big deal of it, right? Like I didn't do a big launch plan like I would with my clients. And that's okay, because I believe that I've already got this built-in community. They can help me promote it. They can help me share it with other people because I know that they're just as passionate about it as I am. So that's really why I went ahead and did that.
Before we get to the in real life, I wanna say some things over there. It's funny how um you those were the thoughts you had, but they're the same thoughts that in that room you advise people like, yeah, you should be different. A different podcast is good, but then you were talking yourself out for the same. You were giving yourself. It's funny how our minds work like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes I'm like, you know what, you need to hear the advice you give people and implement it on yourself. We're so quick to give that advice, but then when it comes to implementing to ourselves, it's hard because first of all, who says what how a podcast should be? Like, there's no guideline of
Right.
exactly how a podcast should be. There's no guideline where there should only be one speaker or two or three. And we have seen other people. I know there are other people who stream on Clubhouse and turn them into episodes.
Yeah.
And I also know that's the whole point of editing. If you are worried about the music in the middle, you just gotta cut the music in the
Right.
middle.
Right.
So you really, this shows that sometimes we are our own, what's the word, our own
Worst critic.
yeah, not only that, but shit ain't moving, or we are on block. We are
Yes.
blocking our own um,
Yes.
progress because of all these excuses we give ourselves. So I'm glad you finally moved out of that. Because to be honest, um, replays are good, but with the way Clubhouse is, not everybody can go to the replays. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, because it's already a podcast. Because if there are replays, people are already listening to it. So might as well take it mainstream.
Right.
So the nuggets in there, I mean, look at the room today itself. A lot of stuff was being mentioned. But throughout the entire year, I have grown so much because of the year I've had in that room. Most of the things I've taken them, I've implemented them, and they've worked for me. And those that haven't, or I'm too scared to do, I know in time or whatever. So whether it's five people talking or three people or there's a music, at the end of the day, the conversation is motivating, inspiring, and it needs to be out there. So I'm glad you finally did that and got out of your own way, because you are on your own way.
Oh yeah. For sure.
I mean, you'd have been winning an award right now if you'd have started it a year, but it's never too late, it's never
No.
too late. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes, there's a reason on delays, right? So
Yeah.
So now here we are.
That's
And I
right.
am so
And
proud of
thank
you
you for
for
saying
finally
that.
pulling the plug.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I think that was the other motivating factor for me, was to get this out there to more people, because Clubhouse, look, it has its challenges these days. They've updated it since a lot of people have probably been on there, and it's just not as easy to find past episodes, and it never was, for that matter. So this is a way to get it out to the masses, because it needs to be. And I believe that we can really build this community much into a much bigger and stronger community now that it is out there for the masses to consume. And hopefully that will draw them in and participate in the live and help enrich those conversations.
So true. And I feel also now a lot of people will also want to come to the stage because remember you had to beg people to come on the stage and talk. But
I used
now
to, yeah.
that their voices and you're mentioning their names and they're sure,
Mm-hmm.
that's visibility. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are gonna want to come on the
Yeah.
stage. You might this 1 hour room might end up having to spend time with
It,
how many people are gonna be on the
yeah.
stage because lately we've even been going past that 8 o'clock. Like we've really not stopped at 8 o'clock. It has been like 8 or 5, 8 or 10, and the
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine on Friday when it's wins and spins and wins where everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's a great opportunity. That's the other thing that's cool about it is that these people who are showing up regularly into our community now have an opportunity, a new opportunity to promote what they're doing and promote their podcast. It's a great win-win situation for everybody involved.
It really is. It really is. And as much as, and it's funny because I try not to get on the stage so much, like, because I know I talk a lot and sometimes I distract people. So I try, but for some reason I always end up getting pulled on the stage. And then, but now, now that it's turning into a podcast, imagine this one I'm scared of being on the stage. While I have a podcast, while I do this, but now is when, because in my head, right? In my head, it's like, this is a podcasting episode. Like big people are gonna listen to it. That's how much I believe in it. So in my head, I'm like, because my podcast is called Talk Shit with P, like and it's not for everybody, right? It's
Yeah.
it's it's not a learning, it's not a teaching podcast. It's just people sharing their stories and their journeys, which I hope people listen and implement and learn something. But it's not necessarily a knowledgeable podcast compared to what podcasting morning chat is, right?
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, big people are gonna listen, and I'm here talking about. So now I'm having the nervous of, do I really want to go on the stage now?
Yeah. I was telling Nick Nallback, who joins us every morning, I was telling him yesterday when I was preparing for the room, I was telling him it's funny now that I know it's a podcast, I have this new pressure that I've started putting on myself. And he actually had some great advice and said nothing's changed. You have all the same people, it's all the same things we've always been doing. And it was a good reminder to me that yeah, just keep doing it the way I'm doing it and stop worrying about the fact that it's a podcast too. Just let it go and it is what it is and be okay with it. And I something you said really sparked something for me that I wanted to share. Another reason why we decided, or I decided to make this available as a podcast, the Podcasting Morning Chat, it's because it's unique. I have always thought to myself, I want something that makes me different than all of the other podcast producers and coaches that are out there. And I can say with confidence, nobody is doing a morning show every single day, live or recorded, for podcasters and for content creators. It is a one of a kind situation. And even if somebody starts doing it tomorrow, even if 20 people start doing the same thing tomorrow, I'm the first one that did it. Right. And nobody's putting it out there as a podcast. Nobody has this kind of format as a daily podcast. And I'm really proud of that. And it's something that I can hang up my hat on.
You should be, and I'm glad you're doing that because you remember we had this conversation at Clubhouse where when I thought when I said something and I said I'm so proud of myself, and you're like, man, we should really be clapping for ourselves. And I'm glad you're clapping for yourself because you did the damn thing. I tell people, you need to brag about you and the shit you're doing. Like, don't brag on the shit that is still on the wax. Make sure you put the signature before you start bragging because there are a lot of people who might not want to see you win. But once it's done, brag away. You did that. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of commitment, a lot of discipline. So you deserve, and that's why I like talk shit with people or shit happen. Because I want to give people their flowers. I want you to brag about what you have done, what you have accomplished. Even though there's still a lot more things you want to accomplish, still a long way. But where you are right now, it took you a lot as well. And that's why I think I also love the Friday wins. Because it's not how people always assume the win should be big. Or sometimes, yes, I have a goal. we look at the staircase instead of looking at all the jumps we're making. I made it from first floor to second floor to third floor. I know I still gotta make it to the 12th floor, but all those, that's a progress. That's
Yes.
taking you to the, so you should celebrate those. You should be proud of it because without those steps, you're not gonna get to the 12th floor. You're not
Right.
just gonna try.
Yep. There's no
So
elevator.
it
There's no
takes that. So
elevator.
I'm
You got
glad
to take
you're
the
practicing.
stairs.
Exactly. Exactly. So you should definitely be proud of yourself. Oh my God, there was something I was gonna say, but I just lost myself. But while I think about that, um, go ahead and share about our live event that we're about to bring to the people.
Yes, we are going to be doing a live event for probably it's going to probably be a 2 to 3 day event, and I just want to start by saying it is not just limited to people who are part of our community. I mean, we want to welcome in new people to our community. The whole idea of this is to create a space that gives creators empowerment. It's a space that not only will we be sharing workshops and presentations, but we're going to have spaces for people to create while they're there and to have new content. I mean, Paula, you've proven that going to an event like Podfest can give you what seems to be an endless supply of content. And we want to be a little more intentional about it. And that is not a knock on Podfest. It's just one thing I've noticed that Podfest isn't doing a lot of is creating spaces for people to actually create content while they're there. And so we're looking to include a small podcast studio booth that people can create. We're going to have videographers, photographers that people can rent during the event so that they can have their own professional camera person going around filming whatever it is they're doing. We want to create a space that really you can walk away at the end of the weekend and feel accomplished, right? Podfest does an amazing job at connections, and people make lifelong friendships there. And we want to do that, and we also want to add that element where you can walk away with some really quality content. So that's the idea of it. And of course, as far as our community goes, like you've said earlier, people just really want to start connecting face to face after spending a year like you have, or 2 years like I have, together doing it every morning for at least an hour a day every morning. You really do build true connections with people. And our community has been asking for this for a really long time. So the momentum was there. I heard it enough times from enough people that gave me the permission to say, do it. And that's what I'm doing with a team of our leaders in our community. I'm not doing it alone, and because it's a lot of work to put on something like that, and I have a powerhouse team that's helping me: Simona Constantini and Dominic Lawson and Sid and Nick and Amanda. I mean, everybody is contributing in some way to make this happen, because we are doing it in less than 6 months. It's going to be the last weekend of June, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, I am excited because it's my birthday weekend. It's
Yeah.
Mark's anniversary weekend. So
Yep.
I get to meet Amy, which
You'll
is
get to meet Amy. Yep.
and that's the thing about me. Once I get to know people personally, I now come after your family. So as soon as me and Mark were in a place where, because I hate when people just meet you and then they start going to argue. People like, first get to know me. Like, let us
Sure.
feel like. So it took a while because, but then Mark also, I had already known him from podcast. We actually met at podcast on the last day, and then from there our connection just became instant. And because I'd already got to know him, I was like, okay, now it's time to take this relationship further. And I introduced myself to Amy, and she's incredible. So I'm looking forward to meeting her. And now also after knowing Dominic, I introduced myself to her. While like I just go after, and it's funny because at Podfest, right? I get along with guys. I can easily talk to guys because I grew up a tomboy. I used to hang around in the bars. My dad is my best friend. My younger, so so I am I can easily talk to guys. Girls take me a little longer, and I'm very picky on the girls I need around me because of who I am, right? So
Mm-hmm.
at Podfest, I know a lot of guys that because I drink with them and do stupid shit with them. So all the guys were coming to me and they're like, "Oh my god, my wife likes you. What did you do to my wife? My wife likes you." I'm like, "I'm a likable person," and I feel for me, once I get to know the guys, right? It's respectable to also get to know their wives, because otherwise, just no disrespect to the
Sure.
wives that are like, this is who I am. I'm just this. So I like to do that. So it's funny how the wives always end up liking me as well. But but I like that you guys. I did not know that part about videographer, because then I'm gonna need a video person to follow me around and.
Yeah. You are. I wish you had one at Podfest, because I mean, I think people can get the idea based on what you have for content, but if you weren't there, you really don't know how much of a ball of energy Paula was, and how much she made everybody feel so good at the same time. It was awesome.
But that's the thing with Podfest. Podfest does create that. I like how everybody over there is really not stuck up. No, like you can walk up to anybody, you can talk to anybody. Like the connections are real.
Yeah.
So I love how they created that, and I can't wait to see what we end up creating, because this is our first event. So I can't speak on it as much yet.
Right.
But with the people we already have, the members, I already know it's gonna be, whether we end up being the only ones there or people show up. But please, people show up. We want to meet new people. We want to include you. We want you to be part of this. Again, I think I like that. Yes, we are bringing connection, but also creating content, because one part is some people are stuck on creating content because they're stuck at home with no people to collaborate with, or to
Right.
people who actually understand what they want to do. Yes, your partner can hold the camera for you, but for how long will they do it? Eventually, they're like, man, again, man.
Yeah. Yep.
There's so much they can do. And that's why I think I also love being at podcast, because for 4 days you get to be a part of people. You just talk content. Until I got tired, I was like, if one more person asks me what my podcast is about, I'm a shit. Like it gets tiring to constantly say, because it's like, yes, my podcast is about this. Yeah. Okay, cool. Bye later, and then you go to another table. Okay, so what's your podcast about?
Yeah.
But then it's funny because now I got tired of that, but now I'm here. I'm like, who's gonna ask me about my podcast? Like, can somebody ask me about my podcast? Can
Yeah,
somebody ask
right.
me
You
about
get
the
used to it.
content?
Yeah.
Yes. So I love that we'll be able to create content together. And oh my god, I can't wait. No offense to anybody else, but I can't wait to create content with Amanda.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She'll be fun.
But so the dates are end of June. Have we settled to in a place yet? I know we are looking at Charlotte, North Carolina, Columbus, Ohio,
Mhm.
Grand Rapids, Michigan, or Birmingham, Alabama. So those are the 4 places right now people are voting. So if you want in on the fun, go on our Facebook group and vote. And there's also a sign up sheet so that you can stay updated with all the information that's gonna come. Have we
Yeah.
finally decided, or are we still voting?
Well, I'll tell you, Paula. I mean, it is not official, but it really seems like it's going to be Charlotte, North Carolina. All signs are pointing to Charlotte. Yeah. I mean, there's a
You
lot
know,
of
so,
reasons why
so,
to do it. Go
so
ahead.
I'm just gonna say it for the people like me out there. Some of us live paycheck to paycheck, so I need you all to make a decision earlier so that
Yes.
we can get our flights the
Yes. That's totally fair.
earlier than that. I feel like Mark. I'm just gonna throw this out here, and in case Amy is watching as well. After this event, right? I feel like towards the end of the year, before the end of the year, just for the members, not for everybody else. I'm being selfish. Just for the members, I think you should invite us all to your Airbnb for a
Oh.
weekend. we, we can do another one. You remember when you and Chris and Holly did
Yep.
the creative one? I feel
Hmm.
like that house has so much potential of so much content, and just that's why it doesn't need a lot of people. It just needs us with special people like this.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there
I mean,
for the
look,
universe to do some things.
so
we will
yes,
we will
I
book it. We'll book it, and then everybody, like, we divide the amount with everybody. That way, you still, because it's still a business. It's still Airbnb. So, and then, but we still kind of get to experience it together.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to do that. And yeah, we have an Airbnb and it does fit really more than 13 people. We say it fits 13 people. But the challenge, I mean, look, yeah, you've said it, how close we've become as a community. I don't know if we're that close because most of the beds, it's like two people to a bed, right? It's really more designed for like a family outing, not a retreat type of thing like you're talking about. So it would be very close quarters in that regard. We'd be, you'd have to be sharing a bed with somebody, and everybody else would have to share a bed in
I
most
mean, I
cases.
mean,
So,
I feel like after the live event we're gonna have, our connection will go much deeper. Cause
okay,
right now it's just voices. Right, this time we'll get to actually spend time together. And
yeah,
you see, I will bring it up, and by the time we leave, everybody will have chosen their roommate for the Airbnb.
okay, all right. I'm down. I'm down. I would love that.
If I get to if by end of that event I've made everybody choose a roommate, you're gonna make it happen, right?
Okay, yes,
All
I
right,
will.
all right,
Okay,
all right, cool. All
deal.
right. So we are coming to an end of this. Mark, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I really wanted to talk about the Empowered Podcasting Room because I wanted to give you your flowers because I
Thank you.
wanted you to people to see what you have done, what you have beautiful built. Because it's not easy to grow a community. It's easy to start, but to grow, to maintain, to nurture it, that takes a lot of work, discipline, energy, and you've done it in a way where yes, we miss you when you're not there, but people are willing to stand up when you need to whether it's family obligation or sometimes because we get tired and we need rest and you just need rest or you're sick or you're out of town. People really pull in and make it work, and that
Yeah,
shows how much you have poured into them for them not to want to disappoint you. Because other communities be like, oh, it's not coming, let's just close it, we'll do another day, Like, no, I'm not stepping in. No, why should I? No, that's his job. No.
mm-hmm.
But people are really willing to come together and help, and that shows. So I wanted people to see that the Empowered Podcasting Room, as much as we learn and we get motivated and inspired, we also pour love, genuine love into each other.
Yeah,
And that's why I call it a family, because it really is a family. When somebody's suffering, we go through it together. We support people. Like last year, a lot of us have gone through so much, and
yeah,
the support from that room has been what, like, even when I was going through shit and I didn't want to do, I would still come into the room because of the love that room gives. And so that's something beautiful, and I needed you to know that you did that.
thank you.
You.
Thank you.
So I know you also have iRonick Media and NextGen and
Yeah.
also your Airbnb. So if you want to share a few about that so that people know exactly, because you have so much. So it's not just empowered. I need people to know all this other amazing stuff you do so that, they can reach out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so if you want to be a part of this awesome community that Paula is so nicely sharing, you can by just go to your favorite podcast app and look up the Podcasting Morning Chat, and you will find us there. And then, yeah, if you're looking for some extra attention and you want some help either launching a podcast or you want help fine tuning the podcast you already have, that's what I love doing, right? So you can find me at ironicmedia.com, and iRonick is spelled IRONICK. It's a play off of my last name. And you can go there and you can actually find some more information as well about NextGen Podcaster, which really is a bigger focus on using artificial intelligence to help you with your podcast process, whether it's preparing for an interview or it's creating promotional content for social media. We have all sorts of different ways that we've learned how to use AI, and we're teaching other people how to do that as well. But yeah, if you want to go to ironicmedia.com, you will find information on everything that I'm up to. So I think that's probably the best place to go. Otherwise, I'm mostly social media wise, mostly on Instagram. I'm on all the platforms, but I probably hang out most on Instagram, and that's at Marc Ronick Yeah, at Marc Ronick, which is right here on the screen.
All right. And a little bit about your Airbnb.
Oh
Tell them
yeah.
where it is. Oh my God, you all need to go see that Airbnb.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's in Asheville, North Carolina, and I believe if you go on Airbnb, you may be able to find it by searching for Modern Mountain Retreat. That is the name of our Airbnb, and it sleeps at least 13 people. We turned the 3-car garage into a game room, workout room, etc. There's a whole suite in the basement, so it's almost like you could have a whole crew just living down there. We've got a built-in queen bed, double bunk bed. It's so adults can actually enjoy a bunk bed if they want. We've got the fire pit, we've got a hot tub, all the things there. It's a great getaway if you love the mountains and you love nature.
And the views, oh my God.
It's unreal.
Speaking of bunk beds, me and Equity shared a bunk bed in at Port First.
Oh yeah. I love it.
Because we took the bigger room where we had 2 queen size beds, and that was Michelle and Kelly. And then they had a corner with the bunk beds, and that was me
Liquidy.
and Equity. Yeah, but whenever I would come to take a nap, because I had to climb up, and after the first night, my body was, I overdid it at Purpose. I'm glad I even survived and made it on safe
Yeah.
because it was too much going on at Purpose. But thank you so much. And for that LinkedIn user who left a comment saying 100%, whoever you are, thank you for tuning in and listening and commenting. We appreciate that. Well, that is all for Shit Happens. But Mark, before you go,
Yeah.
for those people who are looking into creating, building a community, right? Because you have beautiful built one, and you have built it by Clubhouse, because that's even more insane where people don't really even see each other. People just hear each other's voices, and it's funny because when I was at Podfest, I was walking and I literally had Stacey's voice, and I turned around and I saw her. And I was like, Stacey, because
Yeah.
I'm so used to
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give people into trying to create a community that
Yeah.
shows up as much as they show up for them? Because
Yeah.
empowered community shows up.
I think that the first thing is to have patience, because it does take time. It's not an overnight thing to build a community. And so you got to build patience, and admittedly, I'm not technically known to be a patient guy, but when there are things that I'm really excited about, really passionate about, I can learn some patience, and that's in this instance definitely what I did. But the probably the best piece of advice I could give you on the spot right now is, when you're building a community, grab some people that you know would be a, a valuable part of the community. Ask them to help you, right? Don't just say, hey, can you come show up in my community? Can you post in that Facebook group? That's not enough. It's more, can you help me build this? And get their opinions, get their advice. Ask them to be a part of, if you're building a Facebook group, ask them to help you build that Facebook page or that Facebook group. But what I have found is doing it alone is, again, lonely, and it's going to take a lot more time. So find people that you know are passionate, have similar passions as you, that you believe would gladly be a part of it. That's one of the big reasons why I grabbed you, Paula, is after I got to know you, it was a no-brainer that you are somebody who can make a community really special. And so, of course, I was going to bother you until you showed up and joined us. And that's what I did with some of these moderators that are part of it. They were people that I connected with, that I felt had some similar views and passions, and I asked them to be moderators of the Clubhouse room. And that made all the difference in the world, because then they have a passion for the same thing, and now they're bringing in people that they believe would be a good part of the community. And before I knew it, we had a whole lot of people showing up, and it did take time. So patience, and grab other people and make them a part of it. Don't just ask them to be a part of it, make them a part of it.
That's so true. And I'm glad you dragged me and made me and look at what I've become. And because of that also, and I think most people are so scared of asking for help. You should be, it is okay to ask for help. And also for you individuals, you see a community that's giving, pouring so much on you, offer to help. Don't wait until to be asked. Sometimes just offer, you know, like my podcasting Atlanta community. Shout out to Mark Bill. He got tired because he was doing it by himself because it gets draining to do everything by yourself. And sometimes we're even reminding Mark, like, yo, I'm here if you need me. I can help. Because sometimes they also get into their head like maybe I'm asking too much out of them. Maybe I'm, but when you build a beautiful community, they are willing to go above and beyond. And I went to Mark and I was like, Mark, you don't need to do this alone because I've seen the power of community. I've seen what Podcast has done for me. I've seen what Empowered has done to me. I want something in Atlanta. So I want to help. Let me know how I can help. I want to be a part of building this. And here I am hosting my first event end of this month. So don't wait to be asked. You also ask for those communities that support you. And those who are wanting to start, ask for help, as Mark said. Like, don't do it on yourself by yourself because you might get there, but you might get there longer, tired,
Yeah.
drained, overwhelmed, exhausted, or
Yep,
end up
I
giving
agree.
up. But thank
Yep.
you all for joining us as shit happens. Despite the technical difficulties, we made it and it was
Yep.
an incredible conversation. Mark, thank you for being patient with me with my technical difficulties and thank you for pouring to us.
You're welcome, and thank you
Until
for
next
having me,
time,
Paul.
y'all. All right. End stream, end stream.